One of the truly famous wines of Australia is the Cullen's Diana Madeleine Cabernet Merlot. In fact, the 2001 was so famous, it's now recommended in the book of 1001 wines you must drink before you die. And, Vanya, we're in the vineyard where it comes from. So these are the actual vines that go into the famous Diana Madeleine.
Yeah, these beautiful old vines. They were planted in 1971 and they're grown with biodynamic techniques. You can see the soils are all open. Just walking down there, you notice the soil was really spongy.
Spongy, yeah.
And it's just a way to have the vines grow naturally with their own balance. They're old vines. They have Margaret River is very suitable for Cabernet Sauvignon, and look at them, they're such good looking sort of bunches of grapes, aren't they, and plants, and they're very healthy, and they make great wine year in, year out, and that sustainability once again is about the health of the soil and the plant, and I always think Mum would be pleased with that.
Yeah, I should imagine so. And that wine, the famous wine, the Diana Madeleine, named after your mum, it's predominantly Cabernet. It says Cabernet Merlot on it, but it's predominantly Cabernet, right?
Yeah, the blend does vary, but it is predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon, yeah. And they're all on a trellis, which you can see, which exposes the berries to sunlight, and it just, gives you lovely sort of... What typifies this site is the dark fruits. And I think, that elegance that Cabernet Sauvignon can produce in Margaret River so well.
Well, you can definitely feel the maritime influence today. A little bit of rain, a little bit of sun, but certainly breezy, and that's the kind of typifies the region, doesn't it?
It does, and it gives, we've got these open trellises that give that airflow, and it's those, those sea breezes which give the temperate maritime influence and make it cooler. So it's otherwise it could at times be warm. You have the easterlies in the morning and then the sea breezes in the afternoon. So that's very typical of this climate, is to have that wind and that air movement.
Well, shall we get out of this climate and go and actually try the wine? That would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Always, yes.
Let's go.
So we can taste the 2001 Diana Madeleine.
Fantastic.
After looking at the vines. 2001 was a very good vintage for us for Cabernet. It sort of shows all those characters I was talking about in the vineyard of the wonderful black currant, and you can really taste the fruit and the flower and the earth in this wine. I think it's got that sort of lovely minerality to it and that sense of place.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's got that sort of slightly dusty, gravelly kind of...
You can taste the earth, can't you?
Let me say it's got years ahead of it, and I can see that, but it's pretty delicious right now at the same time. And you really do pick up that flower element. I mean, there's lots of that sort of earthy, sort of gravelly thing, but there's a lovely lifted floral component in here. That's extremely charming. Really, really nice wine.
I think Cabernet Sauvignon should be medium-bodied and elegant, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't age, but it gives it that definition of a wine which is in balance.
It's so funny when you talked about Cabernet as being sort of a medium-bodied wine. People just have under this impression it's this monstrous big wine, and really the great Cabernet-based wines of the world, to me, are actually elegant and sort of more medium-bodied than they are smack you around the head and fall.
Yeah, and I think that elegance is what defines it. It defines the style and the greatness of the wine. And the quality of the tannins really are what make the quality of the wine. And if you have that, ripeness there and then the fruit, it's just like all falls into place. We have the vines on what's called a Scott Henry trellis, which exposes the bunches to sunlight at set, and that starts the ripening process, which gives you the fine tannins. It's all happening out in the vineyard, and the trellising with the biodynamics really gives that extra edge of finesse and balance and connection to the earth, and in a way which is good for the earth too. It's sort of like you're giving back what you take out.
Lovely wine, very balanced.
Very silky, isn't it? It's got a length to it that you don't always find in Cabernets, but it's that silkiness and length and that core of dark fruits in the middle. It's thought of as, not such a friendly variety, but if you get the fruit ripe, it's just such an appealing wine.
In the end, even the really upper tier ones represent tremendous value. I mean, you could certainly argue that of all the places that grow great Cabernet in the world, Australia, Margaret River, Coonawarra, it's really a fantastic deal. Even the top wines going all the way down to sort of the entry-level wines, it really is not inexpensive.
You know, if you look at say a first growth Bordeaux, you can be paying, you know, $1,500. I think wines like this are very, very drinkable and very friendly, and I think that's what Australia does very well with Cabernets. It makes those wines which are classic but are drinkable at a reasonable price.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. This is a really remarkable wine. I can see why it's in the book of 1001 wines that you must drink before you die, so I can tick that one off. And this was your mother's favourite and it was named after her?
Yeah, this was the first wine that was named after Mum, and it was, she always thought it was going to be a great wine, so, and it is, so she was right, as always.
Well, here's to your mother, and here's to Margaret River Cabernet, delicious stuff.